Just like to offer a big shout out to Touchdown Digital for sponsoring this week's video. One day I hope my photos will be as good as yours. I don't know how many times I hear that and I look at that person that says that to me and I think, well, your images can be as good as mine if you just had that creative ability. Hello, my name's Lynn Summer and you're watching Sniper Photography. This afternoon I want to talk to you about a subject about human creativity with our cameras. Now, basically this video will be about trying to create an image and why you create it. But let me start off by saying this. This is a Canon 5D Mark IV, a fantastic camera. I own two of those. Brand new, they're about $4,000 just for the body. Now, like that camera, and like all the other cameras that I own, the big Hasselblads that I use for my commercial photography, which I make a living from, and all the other cameras that you people own, all these cameras have one thing in common. And what that is it's lacking a certain setting. And the setting that's not in these whiz-bang cameras is the human creativity setting. In other words, you should be able to take a very, very good photograph with any camera that you own. Now, over the years, people have said, oh, look, my camera's not good enough, or maybe I need a new camera or update the camera that I've got to take better photographs. You don't need to do that. Camera manufacturers have us lead us to believe that, especially new people for photography, that you need the latest and greatest camera to become a good photographer or to be able to take good photographs. That is just rubbish, quite frankly. Don't fall for that. If you've got a camera that's 5 or 6 years old, who cares? Who cares if it's 10 years old? It doesn't matter. It's what you do with it that is the most important thing. And it's like, you can't become a great photographer by opening up a box that you've just received from Amazon and pull out a camera. Photography doesn't work that way. Photography is drawing with light. So it's not about the camera or the lens you use. Sure, camera equipment is very important. You look at the great photographers of the past, and if you want to really learn photography, that's another good way of doing it, is watching the photographs or looking at the photographs from the great photographers of the past. Now, you can look at their equipment. Some of the best images that I've ever taken weren't with a camera like this. That was with a totally manual camera. All manual, no auto, no white balance, nothing. But I had the ability and I learned and I taught myself how to take a good photograph. I often see here on YouTube and on social media when people post an image that they've just taken, they say it was taken with a Canon 5D Mark IV, the lens was a 24 to 70 f4, the settings were f11, 1/10 of a second exposure time, ISO 100. I really don't give a bugger about what camera you use or what settings you use. What I do is I ask those people, what made you take this photograph? What was your mindset? Why did you take it? What were you thinking? What were you thinking? And what were you trying to convey with the photograph that I'm currently looking at? They're the questions that I ask. I don't care what camera you use, seriously, and I don't care what settings you used to take that image. That's not how people learn photography, especially if they're looking at your photographs. What they should be asking you is why did you take that photograph and why did you take it in the manner that you did? What was your thought process? This is how photography works. You've got to think about the image that you wish to take. You notice I'm not talking about cameras or gear or this is the best camera for this or this is the best lens for this. That's just not feasible for photography anymore, because cameras that were used in the 1920s and 30s, they were rubbish. And guess what? So are these. because they all lack that one thing, that human creative setting. So when I hear people say, oh, you know, I wish my photographs were as good as yours, they can be as good as mine. They can be as good as yours out there. But you've got to know photography. Invest in yourself. Don't invest in new equipment. Don't fall for the hype that, oh, geez, they've just released, I own a Mark III, they've just released a Mark IV version of my camera brand. Maybe I should get that. You're wasting your money. You're better off keeping that camera you've got, keeping the lenses you've got, and going out and study photography, read books, watch good videos on photography by people that have been in the profession for many, many years. Go into a photography course. Invest in here. This is where photography starts. It starts in here. It doesn't really start with this thing. This thing's only a tool. It's like a hammer to a carpenter or a builder. So it doesn't matter what camera you've got. Think about your photography and think about why you've taken this particular shot. What excites you about this image that you've just taken, that you're going to show the world? It's a tough subject, I know, and a lot of people disagree with what I'm saying, and I get that, I really do. But you've got to stop and think that some of the greatest photographs of all time were taken not with cameras like this. They were taken with, you know, cameras that just were, they were just a box with a slide, a piece of glass. And it's no different with these. These are more modern, of course, and they do make photography a lot easier, and that's the problem. These modern cameras have made photography too easy. Now, as I said, invest in yourself. You as the photographer. It's you that makes the image. It's not this thing, right? This camera's not going to tell you to get out of bed early one morning and go and shoot a sunrise. It's not going to tell you to get down low with a wide angle lens and focus all the way through that image. That camera can't tell you that. So all these cameras that are on the market now, all the cameras that we own, including myself, they lack that one thing. They lack that human creative setting. So if you haven't got that, don't blame the camera, because as they say, a poor tradesman will always blame his tools. So think about what you're doing with your photography. Stop obsessing about the camera gear you've got or the camera gear that you wish you had, because that's not going to improve your photography, regardless of how experienced you are. I could go out and spend 20 grand on a new Fuji GFX 100S and a couple of lenses, but it's not going to improve my photography. I don't need that equipment to show the world that I can take a reasonably good photograph. That's just not how, once again, how it works. These camera manufacturers are fooling everybody, especially the new people, and the people that have been in photography for some time thinking that, oh, well, you know, maybe I should upgrade my camera. It's not going to make a lick of difference if you upgrade your camera, regardless of your camera being 10 years old compared to the new one now. I mean, well, here's an example. 5D Mark IV, current, you can still buy it off Canon, brand new. Over here in the cupboard somewhere here, I've got an old Canon 60D which I lend to some students. I can take the same photo with that Canon 60D than I can with the 5D Mark IV. And that's supposed to be a better camera. No, it's because I know what I'm doing. I know what light does with photography and how it interprets our images. So next time you see somebody posting images either here on YouTube or on social media, don't ask them what settings they used. And whatever you do, don't ask them what camera they used, because that's an absolute stupid thing to ask. Ask them why they took that photograph. What drove them to? What was their pivotal point as to why they took that image the way they did? What was their thinking process? Photography is about thinking. It's not about equipment. Sure, cameras are important, because without a camera you can't take a photograph. Haha, we know that. But that's where it starts and stops. It actually continues behind the viewfinder, and that's you, the photographer. So think about that. Invest in yourself, not equipment. Instead of spending 3 or 4 grand on a new camera, put that towards a holiday and go and photograph new areas. There's a good tip. But don't fall for this new camera hype, because that's how camera manufacturers stay in business. Their marketing's very, very clever. In actual fact, their marketing is better than the cameras that they're selling. So, because they make you believe that you need the latest and greatest camera, whether you've been in photography for 5 minutes or 50 years. It's not going to make you a better photographer. It certainly won't improve your images. Regardless of how skilled you are, a new camera body sure might make life a bit easier, and it might look cool to have the new badge. But at the end of the day, like a car, it's going to get you from A to B if you know how to drive it. So think about that. Think about where you are with your photography at the moment. If you're obsessing over camera gear that you have or you wish you had, stop that immediately and concentrate on improving you as a photographer. Learn how to use your equipment and how to proficiently be able to turn up to a scene and automatically know what settings you're going to need. That's when you know you're at your top of your game. When you can pull up, set your camera up on a tripod. If you're a landscape photographer, of course, think, right, I could go f11, but I think I know I can do f8 here. They're the things you need to understand. They're the things you need to know. It's got nothing to do with updating your camera or what camera you have. I mean, as I said, there's been some great images taken over the years with camera equipment which was very, very basic indeed. So, yeah, I thought I'd just put that out there. I see that all the time. I get that said to me all the time, what camera do you use, you know? Well, I just use a camera. Because quite frankly, I don't give two hoots about this thing. I really don't. It just does the job. It's up here that, you know, that I need to know and learn. It's in here. So, if that's you, think about that. Think about where your photography sits at the moment and can you improve. But self-improvement is better than buying a new camera body thinking that's going to solve all your photographic problems, because at the end of the day, it's not going to solve your problems. So that's it for another episode of Sniper Photography. I'd like to know what you think about this one. Please put your comments down below and I'd certainly get back to you as soon as I can. If you're new to this channel, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button and everything else. If you have subscribed to this channel, thank you very much. Much appreciate it. We work hard here at YouTube to do these videos here at Sniper Photography, so I thank you for that. So once again, I'd like to know what you think about this. So leave your comments downstairs so I can get back to you as soon as I can. So until next time, my name's Len Selmy. You've been watching Sniper Photography, and as I always say, be nice to yourself, family and friends, but most of all, you keep shooting and keep smiling, and bye for now. And P.S. invest in this, not a new one of these. See you later.